Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Gang. Okay, let's take a look at the hierarchical relationship of the project configuration source text. Don't try to memorize this, it's too long, the kind that's long and thin. You must remember the concept. The concept is basically that the engine has some general settings, and when we develop a project, our project will override the engine settings. Then settings for different platforms will override the general ones, and settings after packaging will override those before packaging. So, let's briefly take a look first. Previously, it had some general settings. This engine game input, it is usually located in this. For example, if we open a project, it's in this EPX UE 5.4 engine then config. You can see here, it has some base configurations. There's nothing wrong with this part. These general configurations, then some configurations are under the editor. Some might be using this PC version. Yeah, then here, it has some platform configurations. Obviously, these platform configurations will certainly override these configurations in your general settings. So that's from the engine's perspective. Actually, from the project's perspective, for example, if we open a project like this, let's go back to our Lua project. Because Lua has more configurations written. So obviously, this is the project's general configuration. So the platform configuration of the project will definitely override the project's general configuration. There is no doubt about this. So naturally, after you finish packaging, we previously packaged one for you. When we were testing, after packaging, under this sale folder, we placed it under the sale folder. Actually, under the sale folder, there are also some configurations. You can see there are some configurations here, and you don't need to worry about this sale folder. You mainly need to look after packaging. There are some configurations here. You see, there are some configurations here. There are some configurations here, but it has already been hidden. We mainly look at this configuration. This configuration will override some previous configurations. Because we don't have parameters set after packaging, we only do it through this place. We can control resolution and scant, the resolution size and whether it is windowed, and also some quality settings, these controls for these things. So this is your final configuration. Then after roughly understanding this concept and idea, that is, the project takes priority over the engine, and platform-specific takes priority over general. Then post-packaging takes priority over pre-packaging. So hierarchical relationship is roughly clear. Next, let's look at this. Then it explains this hierarchy here. See, here's a simple example. Obviously, death scam is universal. Then, for the engine case, there is a Windows scam. The latter will inevitably override the former. That is, the latter's paper will cover the former's paper. If not, if there is, it overrides. If not, it adds extra. Or it uses the former's. That's the idea. Then there is an order. The order, obviously, is first. First add the time base. Then it's categorized. Then next is the engine's platform. Then this is the engine platform. Process categorization. Then this goes to the project. After the project is done, it jumps here to the engine's platform. A category setting for the platform. Then here it jumps to the engine's platform. This place. Then it comes to the project again, the project's sub-platform. And then there's this local data. It might be some, this part of the standalone program. We'll use some things. Anyway, this order. Just take a rough look at it. Don't memorize it by rote. You can't memorize this stuff anyway. Yeah. Then we mainly take a look at these. Look at this. It's this hierarchy. You can see this class. The position where this class is located is inside the mask. So here, there are some hierarchical relationships. It follows this hierarchy to perform such loading control. You see, then here it corresponds to engine. Look here, engine. Here, project. Then here it jumps to engine. Then it jumps to project again. And here, there are also some user. Some personal settings have the highest priority. Then here are some plugin settings. And here, there might also be some other extension settings in this place. Okay, so for this part, everyone, just understand the concept of the system. Then, this is a hierarchy view. So obviously, it has a project here. So in the project, this is the engine's default map. Hey, what map is this open world? This open world is actually this map. This map is exactly what after we create a new project, there is one. Every time you create a new project, there will be an open world map. So it follows the engine configuration. Then here, you can go into your own project 3.0 to specify this game default map. Actually, it is this one. This one, after you specify this configuration, you can see we export it. We export it to the desktop. We open a desktop. Open the desktop. You can see it's an ETR style map, game default map. Actually, this is the setting. Then the setting will override the engine settings. It's quite simple, but sometimes we might also automate it. Brush these variables with U property again. Return to the configuration settings. As for the format, it's actually module name plus class name, and here it's without the prefix. Then you follow our previous method. Just cut the property name. So it gives a simple example. Obviously, his config is placed under distri-m. And there's also a variable here. This variable achieves its value through configuration. So this variable is then given the configuration value of 3. So this class looks like this overall. Okay, then let's write a class like this. We'll still create it here. Go back to our project. We've also written this config for you here. Let me check. Okay. We hope there is already one here. But this place of ours seems to be also used for the second part setting. Then we'll just create a new one here. We still start with xg. Let's call it inactor. Okay, let's put it under this config. Then we'll create it. Actually, let's just paste it over. It should be fine like this. Alright, let's reload. Okay, then let's find it here. Let's just delete its hooked function directly. We won't write anything. Or let's change the name. Let's change the things we need inside. First, let's get this mental data over here. Get the uClass mental data over here. Then we need a variable here. Let's give it a variable called intersense2. Put it in this position. Now that we have a variable here, if we need to configure its value, let's bring this property over here. Let me think. Okay, so in the game, we can actually do this through the game. Then let's bring it over here. Okay, pay attention here. Okay, then we need to rename this actor. So the actor's name has no prefix. Okay, so that means we take this variable. Let's set it to 30. In this syntactor, we let it set this value. Obviously, we need to use logtemp here. We need to give it a log at the orient level. And here is D. Then paste the prefix in. Then we save here. Let's launch it. Okay, it's reporting an error here. Let's see what error it's reporting. Turn it over to the front. This place is quite obvious. We didn't put this variable in, so it will throw an error. Let's start it again. It's loading a bit slowly. Let's wait for it. Okay, then once this is done, obviously, we can directly switch to another map. Switch to another map. Then we just take this actor. and drag it in. It should be this Unreal actor. Let's take a look at our log. You can see this variable is 0. Let's investigate. There must be an issue somewhere. The reason it's 0 is actually quite simple. Very simple. Because the module name on our side obviously doesn't match theirs, right? Our module name is this module name. We can see our module. Find our module. Our module name is actually this. Oh, right. You see, our module name is actually this. So we should write it as this. Okay, let's try again now. Because earlier you can see this, its module face is this, and then this V, because when we copied it over, we didn't delete it. There's an extra space in front. Let's delete it too. This place is still this map. Okay. This place is still 0. Let's check the reason again. I'm blind. This place, this ACTO isn't even correct, right? Let's restart it again. You have to match it right here for it to work. Then look, now we're at 30. We're at 30. We made sense. That's how it is when you paste code sometimes. You just blatantly paste it over. You'll find that it's written wrong here. And then you'll find that this isn't very flexible. Not very flexible. That is, after you read this value, someone else goes and changes this value. Actually, this value doesn't get reflected back into our INI file. And sometimes, for every ILI file, you have to write an actor. Although the quilt is not flexible, then what should we do? If we want to be flexible with it, when we read and write, we can use this f path in f fam, these two classes. We manually read and write ourselves. At this point, don't use the C++ fail open stuff. Just use the ones the engine has already written for you. Define your own format like this. Using our previous ifstream method, split the string, split it into building values to process. Then the C master needs to be a bit farther. One underlying method is through manual reading and writing. We will discuss manual reading and writing in the next lesson. This way is more flexible.